The second story I want to tell you is about Afghanistan. In 2008, I was very young. I was immature. I hadn't served in the military, and I'll get to that in my next kind of the final story. But I really wanted to serve overseas, and I found an opportunity at the Central Intelligence Agency to go overseas. I just want to get to the war zone. I want to be in the fight. I want to get the bad guys. I want to get Al-Qaeda. I want to get Bin Laden, because Parker Schaffel was going to do that, right? We've been on the hunt for 7 years. Special operations going in and out of Afghanistan, Pakistan, wherever those people were. And suddenly, Parker Schaffel going to Bagram, Afghanistan is going to solve the problem, right? That's how immature and inexperienced I was. Somehow I convinced everybody who needed to give the approvals, and they let me go. And they sent me to be the liaison of something called the Combined Joint Special Operations Task Force Afghanistan, the acronym CJSOTAV. And I come in and I know nothing. And I think I'm so much more important than I am. And I'm only there for a couple months. So I figure I've got to have impact, right? I've got to impact stuff real quick. I've got to get information to people, and I've got to get from other people. I know there's people in here who've served overseas, who've been in the war zone, who know what it's like, right? It's a really high impact thing. You can really have a handle on a grasp of what it means to have impact on mission and see what you do actually affect the battlefield in a way. And I thought that's what I was going to do. I only had a couple months to do it, so I had to build up some credibility real quick. Credibility is not built quickly. But what I decided to do was have this conversation. About 2 weeks into the job, I attended the morning briefing as usual, and Major Matthews sat next to me on my left as his usual spot. Major Matthews was one of the other officers there, and we all had particular spots that we sat in for the colonel's morning briefing. Hey Parker, what's going on today? Nothing much, Major, another day in the sandbox, I said. It's great being here, I'm happy to be part of the fight. I said, yeah, you guys have a great, really good team over there, he said. Oh yeah, definitely, lots of great guys. I said, Jeff's over at the 101st, Ryan's running comms all day, and Mike is doing, well, whatever it is he does, I said, baiting. What do you mean? Here was my chance to get a quick win with Major Matthews. I needed him to like me, so his team, called the Special Plans Group, would quickly pass information to me that I needed when I needed it. So I did what any immature 24-year-old would do. I put someone else down to make myself look better. Well, Mike logs all these working hours and all this overtime, but no one really knows what he does all day, I responded. I mean, I certainly don't. We can see everyone else's timesheet, so we know how much he says he's working. Major Matthews smirked, and the conversation ended as the briefing was about to start. A harmless move, I thought. The problem was that Mike had been in Afghanistan for several months before I had arrived. And he had a close working relationship with Major Matthews, as well as Chief Warrant Officer Barnett, who was in there as well, who was the enlisted lead for the military intelligence analysts. As the new guy without much influence, their loyalties were to Mike, not me, and something that I would find out soon. About 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, 4 weeks go by, and Mike and I are kind of at each other's throats. And I'm kind of making comments to him, and he's kind of coming back with some, but mostly just kind of disregarding. And one day I blow up at him, and I said, we had a joint computer that we used called SIPRNet, and I'm sitting at the computer, and I said, who touched my SOTA 73 report? And he looked at me, and he turned around from his computer, and he said, I did. There was an urgent action, and somebody needed to handle it. You were at the bazaar. Buying carpets or rugs or paintings or whatever I was doing. So he was doing my work when I should have been. And again, I was headstrong. I didn't thank him. I just said, whatever. Don't touch my emails anymore. After this blow up, guy brings us down. Let's call him Jason. Jason brings us down to this kind of area that we had in our pods where we lived, kind of these Connex boxes, and he sits down and he says, this can't happen anymore. You guys are at each other's throats. You can't do this. And Mike, that's not his real name, Mike looks at me and he says, that's fine. I don't have a problem. Parker needs to stop talking shit. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Mike, I haven't said anything. He goes, I know what you said. I know Major Matthews. I know Chief Barnett. Okay, they told me what you said. You're talking about my timesheets. And I dug in deeper. I was so headstrong, so arrogant. I said, I didn't do anything. He goes, Jason comes in, he goes, it doesn't matter. Listen, it's got to stop. Whatever it is, has to stop. A couple weeks after that is when it's time to go. Colonel Holland, who is the colonel of the Special Operations, in front of his entire intelligence team, including Major Matthews and Chief Barnett, presented me with a wooden hand-carved plaque with the Combined Joint Special Operations Task Force Afghanistan seal and an inscription praising my support to their efforts. Thanks for all your work, Parker, the colonel said. I wish you could have extended your assignment and stayed with us longer. Perhaps he was the only one who felt that way. I stood up. Thanks, Colonel. I learned a lot being here, and I'll never forget all the work you're doing to keep up the fight. I hope to see you all again soon. Perhaps I was the only one who felt that way. I went back to my base and showed my colleagues my war trinket, telling them about my plans and mounted in the center of my living room wall when I got home. Later that afternoon, my boss finished my performance report and sent me a copy. In addition to documenting the specifics of the work I did, in the last paragraph, she praised my patience, sense of humor, and my efforts to be a good colleague to everyone at the base. If only she had known the truth. As the years went on, and the rare occasions I saw Mike walking through the hallways at CIA headquarters, I gave him a head nod and kept walking. But as I matured and gained more self-awareness through journaling, experiential learning, and leadership training, the situation with Mike began to eat away at me. I recognized that I took the easy road, trying to win others over by putting him down rather than the long road of building sustaining relationships through hard work and providing value. In 2014, I ran into Mike on the sidewalk between the headquarters building and the parking lot. I was walking out while he was walking in. Normally, I would have cowered and put my head down, but this time was different. I wanted to set the record straight. Mike, do you have a moment? He stopped. I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for what happened at Bagram all those years ago. I shouldn't have said what I said, and I felt bad about it for a long time, so I wanted to let you know that I'm sorry. I hope you can accept my apology. And I put my hand out. Mike looked at me and cracked a smile. Thanks, man. But don't worry about it anymore. It was years ago, and it's water under the bridge. It's all good now. He shook my hand and said, I'll see you around. I learned at that time it was never too late to say you're sorry. It was never too late to apologize for somebody that you had wronged or somebody that you had hurt. It didn't matter when it was. And I also recognized that part of that was for me. I wanted closure on the situation, but something deep inside me told me that maybe he did too, recognizing that I had wronged him. And now when I see him, we're not best friends, but we're okay. We see each other and we talk and we chat. And I sent him this chapter before I published it and made sure that he was okay with it. And that lesson, don't build relationships by putting people down. You do it through hard work and adding value.